Hello and welcome to the eLearning Author Limited YouTube channel. In this series of videos, I'm sharing a behind-the-scenes walkthrough of a recent project I created in Adobe Captivate. So far in this series, I've introduced the project and explained how it worked, talked about customizing the Captivate workspace, described how I group items on the timeline, shown how I created multi-state objects for the project, and last week I talked about the advanced actions I've set up in the project. If you haven't already watched these videos, there's a link in the top right corner to take you to the playlist. In this and subsequent videos, which will be posted weekly, I'll continue walking through various elements in the project in Adobe Captivate. Just to be clear, this isn't a traditional tutorial showing a step-by-step process, although there will be elements of that. It's more an insight into how I approached my project. Hopefully, some of the ideas covered here will spark some aha moments for you, or perhaps provide some inspiration as to what you can achieve in Captivate. My intention here is to show how I approached my project. There are inevitably multiple ways to achieve every outcome, and different people will prefer different approaches. Please feel free to share any constructive thoughts relating to creating or designing projects in Adobe Captivate in the comments below. You can run the project yourself if you wish from my website www.elearningauthor.co.uk. Just click Sample Modules in the top right corner, then click the Photography Skills sample, or you can click the link in the comments below. In this video, I'll be talking about the shared actions I set up to turn on and off the audio for the description text, along with changing the audio images, on this slide and also on the question slides. Shared actions are incredibly useful and save a ton of time when you have a list of actions that need to be triggered in multiple places. So, on this slide there are separate audio icons that are displayed when each hotspot, shutter speed, aperture and ISO is clicked. For each hotspot there are two icons, one for when the audio is not playing and one for when it is. Each of these icons needs to have an advanced action associated with it to turn on or off the appropriate audio clip. Instead of setting up multiple advanced actions for each of these, I can set it up once and save it as a shared action and then tweak it for each description so that the appropriate audio images are hidden and shown. I can also reuse the same shared actions on the question slides where I want to turn the audio on and off for the question text. If I click the Shutter Audio item and we look on the Properties panel, we can see that it runs a shared action called Audio On. The P button to the right of the shared action name allows us to see the tweaking or parameters that were specified for this icon. Here we can see the parameter descriptions I set up and the values I have assigned to them for this specific item. I'll click Close and we'll check out the Aperture Audio item. We can see that the shared action name is the same, and if I click the P button, we can see the parameters that have been set for this item. So, now you've seen a finished shared action, let's walk through setting up another shared action for turning the audio off. The first step is to create an advanced action that contains the actions I want to be performed when the audio button on the description is clicked. I'll click Project, Advanced Actions, and create a new advanced action called Audio Off. Now I'll add the first action to the list, which is that I want to stop any triggered audio playing. Next, I want to hide the audio playing icon. While I'm setting up the actions, I have to specify for which description I'm hiding the audio icon. However, as you'll see shortly when I get to the point of saving this as a shared action, this will actually become a parameter that can be selected each time the shared action is used. Next, I want to show the regular audio icon. Now that I've got my actions set up, I'll click the Save as Shared Action button at the bottom. Here I can type a prompt for each of the parameters. For the first parameter, this is the icon that's being hidden, so I'll type icon to be hidden. For the next, it's the icon that needs to be shown, so I'll type icon to be shown. I'll click Save and then OK. So that's the shared action set up. Let's close this dialog box and use the shared action for each of the descriptions. In the timeline, I'll click the ISO audio playing icon, which is the one that is displayed if the audio is playing for the ISO description. In the Properties panel, I'll choose Execute Shared Action from the On Success drop-down list. Now I can choose the shared action I want to execute. In this case, the audio off one is already selected, but I could click the drop-down list to choose a different one if I needed to. Now, to make it specific to the ISO, I'll click the Parameters button to the right. Here we can see the prompts I entered earlier when saving the shared action. So I'll select the appropriate options for the ISO item. With that done, I'll click Save. Next, I'll click the Aperture Audio Playing icon on the timeline and do the same again. Select Execute Shared Action from the On Success drop-down list. Make sure the Audio Off shared action is selected and make it specific to Aperture. And then click Save. Lastly, I'll do the same for the shutter speed. Select the item, select Execute Shared Action, make sure Audio Off is selected, make it specific to shutter speed, and save. OK, so let's switch to the first of the 3 question slides. Here I'll click the Waterfall Audio Playing item on the timeline and repeat the steps to select the shared action and make it specific to this question. So hopefully you get the idea. I can reuse this shared action as many times as I need to, just inserting the appropriate parameters each time. Notice that only the show and hide actions require parameters to be set. This is because the first action pauses any triggered audio. It doesn't need to know which audio was triggered, so no parameter is needed. You can see a list of shared actions that have been set up within a project at the bottom of the library pane. You can right-click a shared action to find out where it has been used. So that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful. Next week, I'll be talking about the drag and drop activity on the second slide in this project. If there's anything Captivate related that you'd like me to cover in a future video, please do let me know in the comments below and I'll add it to my list of future videos to create. Videos are posted weekly on Mondays. Please do subscribe to make sure you don't miss them.